Hi everybody, here are the 4 different types of transformations: reflections, rotations, translations, and dilations. Today we are going to focus on reflections. So as you can see in the picture there, a reflection is just like a mirror image across a line. Please note that in order to go through this lesson successfully, you're going to need a piece of graph paper, a ruler, and a pencil. So please get those things before you continue with the lesson. All right, step number 1, go ahead and label your paper 10.3 reflections, and then draw the X and Y axis on your paper using the blue lines to guide you. So use your ruler for this part, keep your paper vertically, so the long way up and down, and then kind of estimate where the middle is for your X axis and then where the middle of the paper is for your Y axis, and go ahead and draw those 2 lines. So this is what your paper should look like, labeled 10.3 reflections, and then we have graph paper with an X and Y axis. All right, step number 2, using your ruler, graph and label triangle ABC. So go ahead and graph these 3 points and then label the vertices of the triangle ABC. Use your ruler to connect the dots and make the actual triangle. Pause the video now and go ahead and do that. All right, so this is what your graph paper should look like right now. We have triangle ABC over in the first quadrant. So now what I'd like you to do is reflect the triangle ABC over the x-axis and then label the new points A prime, B prime, and C prime. Let's go ahead and do this together. All right, so in order to reflect over the x-axis, what we want to do is take each point, like point A, and point A is 2 away from the x-axis, 2 up from the x-axis. So what we want to do is go back to the x-axis and instead go 2 down. And then that's where we're going to put our new point A. So label that A prime. Then do the same thing with point B. Count how far away from the x-axis point B is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And instead, we're going to go 5 below the x-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that's where point B is going to go, B prime. And then we do the same thing with point C. C is 1 above the x-axis, so we're going to go 1 below the x-axis and label that C prime. So you should be doing this on your paper. Once you have those 3 points labeled, go ahead and use your ruler and connect your dots to make a triangle. If you've done it correctly, then it should look like the exact mirror image of the triangle up above. It should not look larger or smaller. It should be the exact same size. Okay, now let's try another one. So on that same piece of graph paper, use your ruler and graph and label triangle DEF. Go ahead and pause the video and graph these 3 points and label them DEF. All right, here we have triangle DEF. If something is wrong on your paper and it doesn't match what you're seeing on the screen, feel free to erase it and go ahead and fix it. So now what we want to do is we want to reflect the image DEF over the y-axis, and then we're going to label our new points D prime, E prime, and F prime. All right, so we're going to reflect over the y-axis, very similar to what we did with the x-axis. So let's start with point D. D, we want to see how far away from the y-axis it is located. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And instead, we want to go 5 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that's where we're going to put the new point D. So go ahead and graph D. Do the same thing with E and F. E is also 5 away. And F is 1 away from the y-axis, so we're going to put that one right here. Then very carefully with your ruler, connect your dots. And you should notice it looks like the exact same triangle, just flipped over the y-axis this time. All right, this time we are going to graph a quadrilateral, GHIJ. Go ahead and pause the video, graph GHI and J, and then you will want to reflect the image over the y-axis. Now, once you have the 4 points graphed, go ahead and play the video, and this one gets a little bit tricky, so you're going to want to listen to the introduction of the next screen that you see. So go ahead and pause the video and graph it first, and then play to listen to the introduction. All right, so here we have quadrilateral G, H, I, and J. Now this picture we want to reflect over the y-axis, but if you notice by looking at the y-axis, we actually have points that are to the left and we have points to the right of the y-axis. So what we need to do is all of the points that are located on the left of the y-axis are going to need to be moved to the right side, and then all of the points on the right side of the y-axis need to be moved to the left. So the H and the G will go to the left side and the I and the J will go to the right side. So if you understand that concept, go ahead and reflect it over the y-axis and pause the video. If you're not quite sure where to start, I'm going to go ahead and start graphing those, and then you can pause the video when you're ready to continue on your own. So I'm going to start with point G. Point G is 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right, so I need to go 4 to the left to graph that first point. 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to do the same for H. H is 2 to the right, so I'm going to go 2 to the left. Now, I do the same thing, except with I and J, I'm going to bring them over to this side. So point I is 1, 2, 3 to the left, so I'm going to go 3 to the right. And then I have J, which is 3 to the left, so I'm going to go 3 to the right. Once you have all of those points graphed, use your ruler and connect the dots, and your picture should look pretty cool once you have the reflection kind of over itself. And here we have it. So we have quadrilateral GHIJ reflected over itself on the y-axis. Okay, this is the last problem in the video. Go ahead and graph triangle KLM and then reflect the triangle over the x-axis. Pause the video here. Go ahead and see if you can do the whole thing before checking your answer. Okay, here is triangle KLM, and now we want to reflect it over the x-axis. If you notice, M and L are both right on the x-axis, which means they're not going to move at all. The only point that we need to flip would be the K. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away. So that's going to be K prime. And then really carefully connect. And there's your reflected triangle. All right. Nice job, everybody. So these are the basics on reflections. If you need to take this one step further and figure out how to reflect over other lines, such as y equals 7 or y equals x or negative x, then check out, I have one more video right after this one that takes it one more step. Thanks, everybody.